Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks. And here we stand, al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, that's Dan, and you're listening to
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning, friends. It's your daily dose of Rob and Dan on the ProBoh Show on this Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah. The 7th of July, 2026, 8:30 a.m. Central European Time. How are you doing out there? Baking in the heat, I imagine, today. Here in Spain, particularly here in Madrid, will reach a high of 38 degrees centigrade. Currently 26 right now if you're joining us live in the morning. How are you doing out there? If you want to join us live, if you want to be as cool, as sexy, as charming, as influential, as impactful as our amazing live audience, you can join them, indeed be one of them, and use me as a conduit for your thoughts and ideas. You can do that at twitch.tv/professional bohemian. That's twitch.tv/bohemio profesional, pero en inglés. You can also interact with the show outside of our lifetimes, yes. Of course, you can do that on my Instagram, as we always do, which is @professionalbohemian. And if you're extra specially cool and sexy and charming and handsome, well, you can join me on my Patreon, which is patreon.com/professionalbohemian. Just professional bohemian, man. Just remember that. How are we doing in there, Dan?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, you doing okay?
Yeah.
All right, dude. All right. Yeah, Spain won last night, right?
Yes.
1-0. Was it 1-0?
1-0.
1-0.
Yes.
Yeah. So Portugal out.
Yes.
All right. Look at that. Congratulations, Spain. Congratulations. Were you watching the match?
Yes, but I wasn't paying too much attention.
Sophie was watching it. Sophie was watching it while I was passed out. I remember she said, "I'm going to start watching the football." I'm like, okay. You know what I was actually doing while she was watching that? I was watching someone play Farming Simulator 26. Oh man, I'm a big nerd. Anyway, how are you doing out there? That's my question. We've got Eugene joining us in the chat. He says, "Hi guys, how are you doing?" Eugene joining us all the way from Russia. Mike is here. Good morning, dear Bohemians. Spain won and Trump lost, despite his cheating with FIFA. Oye, oye, oye. Oh, did America lose last night?
Yes.
Are they out of the competition? That's brilliant.
For now.
Yeah, until Trump makes a call to Gianni. Hey, Gianni, we should be back in the competition. We should get 2 lives. Tremendous. Whatever, Trumpy. Thanks for that, Mike. I had no idea about America's defeat yesterday. Commiserations to my American friends and listeners. Anyway, should we see what's coming up today? An interesting one today. We're going to talk about children. Yeah, children. Yeah, something Dan and I are obviously not experts in. Both of us childless, but hey ho, we have been children. At least we can speak from that angle. We ask our 100 humans today to name something many parents, or parents in general, want their children to learn at a young age. Difficult question. Nombra algo que los padres quieren que sus hijos aprendan de pequeños. They want children to learn at a young age, de pequeños. One of the rare occasions where Spanish is actually a little more concise than English. Yeah. And today's unpopular opinion is children should not be taught to respect adults just because they're older. Oh, yes. Contentious one. No se debería enseñar a los niños a respetar a los adultos solo porque son mayores. It's a difficult one, a tough one, a contentious one, and you'll see that bore out in the results of today's Instagram poll. But more on that, my friends, more on that later. Okay, so I think Spain's chances, Dan, have to be pretty good now at winning, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I think, are they the favourites this
No, they are still not. Argentina is still there.
Argentina is still the favourite. Oh man, that's going to be a hell of a match, isn't it? Wow, I can't wait to ignore that football match going on. Just like I ignore all the rest of them. All right, shall we see what's coming up in today's news? I think we should. Some neuroscience news. Oh my God, it's our favorite topic, isn't it? Neuroscience. Los neurocientíficos arrojan luz sobre la ilusión de aprender con vídeos cortos. Arrojan, shed light on. Arrojan luz, to shed light. So neuroscientists shed light on the illusion of learning from short videos. Do you have any educational content coming up in your feed, Dan?
I don't think so, no.
How's it going, by the way, your control of your habits?
The same.
The same?
Yes.
Are you fighting it, or have you given up?
I give it up.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, when we're in stressful moments, Dan, we're allowed to indulge. That's what I say. That's what Uncle Rob says. And look at me, Dan. Look at me. Perfectly functioning adult. You know, after I got over the alcoholism and, you know, various addiction issues. I'm fine now. So no educational content whatsoever. No news, no nothing.
I don't think so, no.
No. It's a thing, apparently. They call it micro-learning, I think. Anyway, let's dig in. Short-form educational videos may feel like an efficient way to learn, but new research suggests they can actually make it harder to remember information. That's the TLDR on this. Yeah, apparently it makes it harder to recall information. I have to admit, it's been so long since I've consumed short-form video that I have no skin in this game. When I was using the platforms, I wasn't really fed any educational content. Perhaps if I were, I'd be still using them. Who knows? In a study published by Communication Psychology, researchers found that people who watched fragmented social media-style clips performed worse on memory tests than those who watched a continuous video containing the same factual content. Even when participants were told to pay close attention and expected to be tested, the short video format led to weaker recall and greater forgetting the next day. Yeah, you know, I think it requires a few different tomas de contacto, you would say in Spanish. You need to be told and reinforced a piece of information several times, I think, for something to really sink in. Yeah, I mean, as the people at Canal Car, Canal Car, compra tu coche. Anyway, free. Is it Canal Car, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Look, I mean, those are adverts here in Spain where that's it. They just say Canal Car. They'll buy your car. They'll buy your car. They'll buy your car. And it is ingrained in the memories of everyone here in Spain because it's so annoying and frustrating. But it just goes to show that we need things repeated a few times, possibly in different wording, and possibly with evidence backed up, to be able to recall something, for it to enter into our memories. Yeah, so the idea of a short form video not hitting those centers of the brain where things are stored makes sense to me, I think. Brain scans helped explain why, so here we go. Viewers of the continuous video showed stronger synchronization in brain regions linked to attention, memory, and building a coherent understanding of what they were seeing. By contrast, viewers of chopped up clips showed more activity in regions involved in reacting to sudden sensory changes, suggesting their attention was being constantly redirected rather than used to absorb meaning. The researchers say this raises important warning for educators and anyone using social media platforms for learning. Highly stimulating fragmented content may create the illusion of learning while undermining the brain processes needed for long-term memory. So it's interesting. And perhaps I think maybe an important part of memory is contextual information, right? It's not just a dry reading of the facts, but also a little background, explanations as to why helps greater brain synchronicity. As it says here, viewers of continuous video showed stronger synchronization in brain regions linked to attention, memory, and building a coherent understanding of what they were seeing. Interesting stuff. So we need to go back to memorization, says Mike. Yeah, well, look, I'm not a big fan of that style of teaching, but it is a style of teaching, I guess, for a reason. I would like to underline the idea that short form videos, consuming videos of 1 minute in length that pretend to be content, I don't think has any benefit. And it even seems like the micro learning channels aren't really doing us any favors either. I mean, can you remember anything? Can you remember any of the short form videos you watched, for example, last night, Dan? Or yesterday?
No.
Yeah, I was the same, dude. So I would go home, and on my way home, I would do the endless scroll on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Reels. And then by the time I'd gotten off the bus, like a mere 10 seconds from I put my phone in my back pocket to leaving the bus and walking home, I'd forgotten everything I'd seen. It's just not that engaging, is it? It's kind of, it's chewing gum for the brain. It's not really of anything of any real import or depth. I mean, how much depth can you get into in a mere 30-second or a minute clip? Really not much. Not much. I mean, look, if you're a fan of this company where we work, Vaughn, repetition is key to success. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I tell you what would be interesting is maybe comparing the results after repeated viewing. Perhaps short form video micro learning gets better the more times you interact with that video. That could be a thing. Anyway, just to play devil's advocate, I know we've got a lot of fans of the old short form content here. Hell, we make our own. And if you want to see any of that short form content, you can do it on Vaughan Radio's Instagram. That's @Vaughan Radio. Right now, there's a video of me explaining a false friend. But that will change at some point today. Anyway, look at the time, friends. Look at the time. Vero's here. Morning, beautiful bohemians around the universe and beyond. I'm super late. Sorry. No problem, Vero. You're just in time for today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Bit of a controversial one today. What is today's brain fat? Today's pedocerebral, pedomental? Well, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. In this current climate of helicopter parenting and perceived danger around every corner, it's an interesting one. Children shouldn't be taught to respect adults just because they are older. No se debería enseñar a los niños a respetar a los adultos solo porque son mayores. How do you think they voted, Dan? What's your feeling on this one?
I think they voted true.
You think they voted true? They actually voted false by a very narrow margin, Dan. 55% voted false. I take it you're a true on this one.
Yes.
What's your thought behind it? Why do you think true?
I think that I think kids should respect everyone the same way, but respect can be lost.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I would agree with that. Kids should be taught to respect everyone, not just older people, but their colleagues. It's just if you're a kid, like most authority figures, in fact, all authority figures are going to be older than you, aren't they? And what is the nature of earning that respect? Should respect be earned, not based on age? Is that what we're going for? Is that the tact here? Well, false won the argument, so let's get into the false arguments here. In the con column saying children should be taught to respect adults. Here we go. Adults usually have more experience. Older people have lived longer, made more mistakes, and accumulated knowledge that children simply haven't had the time to acquire. Seems fairly obvious, doesn't it? Seems fairly obvious. I mean, experience does increase the chance of wisdom, I think. But it doesn't guarantee it, does it? I mean, there are flat earthers out there. You know, there are people out there denying climate change right now as we swelter in the summer heat. Or as we have been sweltering since May. Unusual climate phenomenon. But there are people out there that will say it's not happening. La 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 la. So yeah, experience can increase the chances of wisdom, but doesn't necessarily guarantee it, does it? It promotes social order. Teaching children to treat adults respectfully helps schools, families, and communities function more smoothly. Eesh. I mean, social order shouldn't come at the expense of teaching children to question inappropriate authority, should it? And who decides what? I suppose the parents decide who is the appropriate authority, right? But that's not what we tell kids. We tell kids to respect, to listen to the grown-ups, right? Which makes a lot of sense, I think, doesn't it? I mean, sure, not all grown-ups are created equal, but I mean, the vast, overwhelming majority of adults will have any kid's welfare first and foremost in their mind. Respect isn't the same as admiration. Children can be taught to speak politely and behave respectfully without believing every adult is right. I kind of agree with that point. Look, showing respect and admiring someone are two very different things, right? You can be polite, gracious, behave respectfully. Even obey people in positions of authority without necessarily admiring them. Just understanding, well, this person has this position of authority. They're an older person, more life experience. I will lean on their advice. But however, in practice, many children are taught that respecting adults means complying with them, when, that might not necessarily be the best thing to do. It encourages humility. Recognizing that older people may know more helps children remain open to learning. Yeah, but I mean, surely humility should apply to everyone, right? Including adults listening to children, right? I mean, some of the best things you'll learn as an older person come from the youngest people in society. I mean, I'm constantly shocked and amazed by the things like my nieces come out of my niece's mouth. Most adults are acting in children's best interests. Parents, teachers, caregivers generally have responsibilities that justify greater authority. Yeah, true story. I mean, how do you teach a kid, a smooth-brained kid, that this is the adult you listen to and this isn't? I don't know. I mean, okay. I suppose even as a child, you're told, don't get into don't talk to strangers, rah, rah, rah. Isn't that a conflicting message? Don't talk to strangers, but respect all adults. Isn't that a conflicting message? We routinely show strangers a basic level of respect before they've earned it. Adults are no different. It's true. Look, who is walking around the place being or demonstrating a lack of respect for people until they've earned it? That makes you an asshole, doesn't it? Basic courtesy should extend equally to children, though, not just adults, right? I mean, the door swings both ways. It's a tough one today. Interesting. Oh, wait, I'm getting a bit of a cue here. I like the word terraplanista. I don't understand why you've said that. I like the word terraplanista. Okay. Anyway, let's. That's from Vera. All right, let's get into the pro column, where only 45% of our people voted today. Oh, no, it's shifted. Now it's 43% of people. Okay. Growing older doesn't actually make someone wiser, kinder, or more deserving of respect. Some adults behave irresponsibly, dishonestly, or abusively. True story. And look, legally speaking, you're an adult as of 18 plus. right? Or in your early 20s, you're an adult. And, you know, if you're in your early 20s, to a person like me, you're a child. I'm going to be 50 soon. Now, I do try and treat people with respect wherever possible. I'm not perfect, obviously. But not everyone is wise, kind, or more deserving of respect, are they? I mean, I suppose the rebuttal here is the rule isn't claiming all adults are admirable. It's just practical default that children respect all adults. Children navigate the world safely. And given that most adults have their best interests at heart, to respect adults. Because they're older. In possession of more faculties. But fact of the matter is, the little girls that join me on the lunchtime show, Andrea's kids, Dan is closer to their age than Dan is closer to my age, right? There's only 10 years between Alessia and Dan, and there's 20 years between Dan and I. So how do you make that judgment call? Well, the judgment call is, obviously, respect all adults. Dan, Rob, equally, right? To a person of that tender young age. Hey, it's a tough one today. I don't know. I'm not sure which side of the fence I'm on this one. Blind respect can make children vulnerable. Teaching children that adults should always be obeyed or respected can make it harder for them to recognize or challenge abusive behavior. Look, respect doesn't have to mean unquestioning loyalty and obedience, does it? Surely. Children can be taught both respect and healthy boundaries. It discourages critical thinking. If authority is treated as inherently correct, children may become less willing to question bad ideas or unfair treatment. Yeah, it does encourage some kind of blind... it does in some ways encourage a blind obedience to authority, doesn't it? But at that tender young age, what else do you expect? I mean, I don't know, it's a tough one. Young children also need to learn when to trust experienced adults, though, don't they? Before they can evaluate any situation independently. Quite often, you're going to, flat earther, terraplanista. Oh, thank you, Vero, I like that. Okay. Can we get Vero a nivelazo, please? Flat earther.
Vaya nivelazo.
Terraplanista. Yeah, I mean, look, they don't have the discernment, do they, most children? I mean, depending on age, to be able to, properly judge a situation. Surely we should be teaching them to lean on an adult's advice, right? I don't know. Respect should reflect behavior. People deserve respect because of how they treat others, not because of when they were born. I think this is the crux of the argument, isn't it? Is this where you're at, Dan, with this one? People deserve respect because of how they treat others, not because of when they were born.
I think it's true.
It's often impossible for a child to assess an adult's character quickly, though, isn't it? So age provides a simple social guideline. I mean, how are we supposed to explain the rules to children? Okay, if you see them with a bottle, then they may be, I don't know. I mean, keep it simple, right? Have you ever tried to explain to a kid a rule? If it reinforces unhealthy power dynamics, automatically elevating adults above children can normalize unequal relationships where children's options are dismissed. I mean, let's be frank though, adults genuinely do have great responsibility and experience in most situations. I mean, look, we don't want to... I understand that the hierarchy is somewhat, it provokes some rejection in us. Oh, you're not better than me. But there is, when it comes to children, a hierarchy there. When it comes to life experience and responsibility. Namely, adults have way more than children do. Doesn't mean that children aren't worthy of respect, too. It just means, as a general rule, they should be taught to respect their elders. I was taught that. And mutual respect works better is the last point. Children are more likely to respect adults who also treat them with respect, and there I agree wholeheartedly. Children may not always reciprocate respect first, being taught to value it. You've got to value respect, right? Anyway, it's a tough one today. That's why I table it to you, my friends, to tell me, what do you think? Children shouldn't be taught to respect adults just because they're older. No se debería enseñar a los niños a respetar a los adultos solo porque son mayores. True or false? That's today's unpopular opinion. I'm going to post a poll and ask you to vote while we take a short commercial break. The post will be, obviously, on twitch.tv/professional bohemian. twitch.tv/bohemio profesional, pero en inglés. All right, guys, I'll see you in a few short minutes. Hey, guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, ProBoh. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're joining us live at 9 a.m. on this Tuesday, the 7th of July. How are you doing out there, folks? You still have time to vote. 7 minutes left on the clock for today's unpopular opinion. Join us on twitch.tv/professional bohemian. Bohemio profesional, pero en inglés. What did we look at today? We only really had time for one piece of news today as we picked apart an interesting article from scipost.org with regards to a study published in Communication Psychology, highlighting that a lot of the learning we do in short-form videos, I think short-form videos here, we're referring to those vertical videos with the endless scroll, Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. A lot of the learning we do on these platforms is illusionary in nature. We don't really remember anything that we've seen. I mean, ask yourself, when was the last time, what was the content of the last video you watched? Yeah, I mean, overwhelmed by endless streams of videos, it's easy to understand that you're not really retaining any information, even if it is in the auspices of learning. That is with the exception of the phone radio, Reels, which, you're learning every single day. So join us there. Anyway, and then we moved on to today's unpopular opinion, which is children shouldn't be taught to respect adults just because they are older. No se debería enseñar a los niños a respetar a los adultos solo porque son mayores. That's today's unpopular opinion. Quite a controversial one. Let me check out the votes. You still have time to vote, by the way. So have we shifted your needle? You were a true on this one. Have you moved any closer to false?
No, I still think it's true.
You still think it's true? What are the main reasons you think they just, you shouldn't be teaching? Because you said in the first part of the show, right? They should be taught to respect everybody, independent of age. Is it still that, pretty much?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I agree with that, and I also think respect should go both ways. I think my nieces respect me because I respect them. But then again, I'm not a parent, so it's very easy for me to say that. And I'll be honest with you. I do think there is a hierarchy of authority when it comes to children and adults. Very pragmatically, if I had a child and they were in trouble, I'd want them to ask the nearest grown-up. I wouldn't want them to go and ask the nearest kid. You know what I mean? Ask an adult, ask a grown-up. And I think that's where boiling it down to that simple kind of thought leads me to think, well, maybe false. But then, the pushback, the immediate pushback is, well, not every adult, not just because they've been longer on the planet doesn't mean they're any wiser or they're any more capable of rational thought. We were talking about flat earthers, weren't we? And thanks to Vero, we know the word for that. Terraplanista. Thank you. All right, anyway, let's go through some of your comments here, because there are some good ones. Vero says false. Children should be taught to respect adults because they are wiser than them. Wisdom is a very important thing. Yeah, I agree. Wisdom, but I've met a lot of kids that have demonstrated more wisdom than a lot of adults that I know. You know what I mean? But it's true, life experience does tune you into a greater amount of danger. I mean, look, who would you ask for advice when it came to alcohol consumption? Would you ask, would you ask someone who's experienced drinking a great amount of alcohol? Or would you ask someone who's never drunk a drop in their life? I think that's the key to the issue. How to escape a violent situation. Would you ask someone who's been in violent situations or someone who's lived in a perfectly peaceful community their entire life? You wouldn't ask, who would you rather ask for relationship advice? Someone who's never been in a relationship or someone who's happily married? I mean, again, life experience speaks volumes. I think that's what Vero's getting at. When it comes to wisdom, perhaps the conclusion one might derive from their lived experience might be erroneous, but the wisdom, the life experience counts for a lot. If you're in trouble, go and find an adult, find a grown-up. That seems like good advice to me. Although, are we kind of diverging from the unpopular opinion? Because that's not the wording, is it? The wording is, children shouldn't be taught to respect adults just because they're older. Yeah. Oof, it's a tough one today. I didn't anticipate it being so tough. Anyway, let's continue on. Eugene says, true, there are a lot of very stupid adults around. We have a saying, if a person is a fool he will be a fool for a very long time, sometimes forever. Is that a Russian saying? I like that. If a person is a fool, he will be a fool for a very long time, sometimes forever. Yeah, okay. I think, I don't know, I'm starting to side a little bit with Dan here. Or more to the point, I mean, look, respect is a better rule to teach children, respect the people who respect you? Is that maybe a better rule to teach kids? But how do you discern? How can a 7-year-old really discern who is a trustworthy or respectful individual and not? I mean, let's be honest, a bad actor with kids, someone with malicious intent, is going to be very friendly and respectful at first, aren't they? It's a tough one. The vote has got 1 minute, I think, to finish, at least from the information I've got right here on my screen. So you do have time to further the vote if you want to. But just 42 seconds left. I did get some messages on Instagram. Let me go through a few of those. All right, here we go. Julian Castro says, I agree. Respect should come from how someone behaves, not the year they were born. Yeah, but, we're thinking about general life, We're talking about, who you should speak to at a party, when I'm thinking about a more disastrous situation where a kid is lost or, or something is happening. What would you tell that kid to do? Go and find an adult, right? But I agree. I mean, really, the age that you're born is, is a pretty bad marker to judge who is a good person, who has good intentions or not. But when the shit hits the fan, you want your kids to be protected by someone with some life experience, I would imagine, right? Regardless of if they're very respectful to the kid or not, you want the kid to be safe, I guess. Interesting point, Julian. Thank you. Ashley says kids should still be taught basic courtesy. That's different from treating every adult as automatically worthy of respect. Yeah, basic courtesy is universal. I guess it depends here how you're defining respect, doesn't it? It depends how you're defining respect. Because if we're just talking about basic courtesy, then everyone is worthy of that. Everyone is worthy of basic respect. Or basic common courtesy. Yes, sir. No, sir. Can I help with that? Bohdan. Bohdan. Is that just is this Dan and my child? Bohdan? Who are you? Says, blind respect can make it harder for children to recognize when an adult is behaving badly. Yeah. You know, again, I find myself swaying towards Dan's side here when I read something like that. Blind respect can make it harder for children to recognize when an adult is behaving badly. And let's be honest, I think the biggest danger to kids are probably adults, right? Or wrong? I mean, how is a kid to discern whether an adult's behavior is good or bad anyway? I mean, depending on their age, right? Julia Moreau says, I think children should respect authority where it's appropriate, but they should also know it's okay to question adults who are clearly wrong. Yeah. And I mean, how are you defining respect? You know, quite often, my goddaughters will comb my imaginary hair and slap the top of my head and punch me in the arm. Not very respectful behavior. It's playful. But I don't mind. So how are we defining respect here? It's a tough one. Should we get to the results of the poll? I think we should. All right, so I made the statement. Children shouldn't be taught to respect adults just because they are older. True or false? And you guys said 67% true. Yeah, the poll has shifted back as well in the chat. True is now back on 45%. Thank you for continuing to interact with the Instagram poll. But yeah, here we go. Our thought leaders in the chat have spoken. It's a true. Yeah, I mean, look, age isn't a very good benchmark, is it, for how you should respect someone or not? Is life experience? Probably not either, right? I mean, really, as an adult, you respect the people who respect you back. But I was taught as a kid to respect my adults, my elders, right? And I didn't see me wrong. I mean, why wouldn't we teach a child to respect someone who is older? Why wouldn't we? Is it a question of, well, be careful because this person might be a predator? Is it a question of, you don't have to respect people if you don't want to? Personal freedom? Is it safety, personal freedom? Why wouldn't we want them to respect a person that's older? Dan, yeah, that's an interesting question to you. What do you think? Like, why wouldn't we, under what circumstances wouldn't we want a kid to respect a person that is older than them? It's a tough question, I know.
I think it's a very different thing to respect a person than to hacerle caso.
To obey a person. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Eh? And I have framed a lot of the argument in that way, but I guess that's because as a kid, That's the way I was taught, right? An elder person, you're seen, you're not heard. If they ask you to do something, you do it. But maybe respect and obedience are two different things. Yeah, I like that. Mike here says, respecting adults is generally speaking beneficial for children. Not doing so will probably cause them trouble. Yeah, there's another thing, isn't it? And I think Mike's kind of hit the nail on the head. Respecting an adult is generally speaking for the good of the child. And if they don't, they're going to get in trouble. Because think about the adults that they're actually engaging with kids of a very young age. Teachers, right? Other family members, family friends. If you disrespect a family friend, dude, I would have gotten a clip around the ear if I was ever disrespectful to any elder of mine. But then there's elder and elder, right? How much older does a person have to be for that to lose its relevance? Or how much younger does a person have to be? Right? Is it still relevant? A 12-year-old and a 22-year-old? Is it as relevant as a 12-year-old and a 40-year-old? It's tough, right? Where are the boundaries? I mean, this is what makes this a fascinating subject to talk about, because I think there is such a level of subjectivity to this one and our own lived experience, right? I mean, if I was the victim of abuse when I was a kid, then I would have a very clear opinion about this, and it would be true. Children shouldn't be taught to respect adults, because my lived experience was not that. Okay, it was kind of a rough upbringing, but I came out of it, pretty well, all things considered. But I thank you, and I do, of course, as always, lean on your amazing opinions, friends. When I made that statement, children shouldn't be taught to respect adults just because they're older. What was the translation of that? Sorry, 1 second. No se debería enseñar a los niños a respetar los adultos solo porque son mayores. You guys said 67% true. But all these things we've been talking about, friends, they're just opinions. And you know what Grandpa Bo said about those, right? He said opinions, well, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including mine. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys. And on that walk, I encountered 100 humans, and I asked them all a question. Today's question was, name something parents want their children to learn at a young age. Nombra algo que los padres quieren que sus hijos aprendan de pequeños. I asked them that question. They gave me their answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers. Your job in the audience is to identify those top 7 answers. All right, big thank you to Carlos, Fenokiti, Ivan Samroff, Juan Arreo, Emily, Anakasan, Raj, Ivan GP, Mia, and many others. Thank you all for interacting here. On Instagram, again, you can do that yourself if you join me on my Instagram account, @professionalbohemian. That's Bohemian Profesional, pero en inglés. Okay, Dan, kick us off. Something a parent wants their kid to learn at a young age.
Sports.
It seems that most people took this as a little bit younger than kind of like sporting age. Like, would you want a kid to learn when they're mega young? Sports is not there. It's not there. I mean, not all the answers are that. There are some where, you'd need to speak and things. Let's see. Oh, some good answers here. Vero says manners. Modales. Is manners there? Yes, it is. Manners is there. 22 of 100 humans said manners. It's in second place. Respect, says Vero as well. Yeah, I don't know if respect and manners are all that different. Mike says English. I can't give it to you, Mike. I can't give it to you. There was a time where I might have stretched that answer, but Dan gets annoyed when we do that, so I don't do it anymore. However, you do say reading. Oh no, this is Eugene. Eugene says reading in the audience. Is reading there? Leer. Yes, it is. Well done. I'm just seeing now that one of my answers here is erroneous. 1 second. Sorry, friends. Okay. No, I've got it. Okay. Let's see. Math. Math, says Con. Matemáticas. Is math there? No, it's not. Pwa, pwa, pwa. To walk, says Mike. To walk. Caminar. That has to be a precious moment in the time of a parent, doesn't it? The first time your kid stands up and walks somewhere. And then, great at first. Same with talking. Great at first, and then you slowly regret that. Anyway, is walking there? Yes, it is, Mike. Well done. The reason I said speaking, because I saw that answer pop up at the bottom of the screen from Eugene. He says speaking. Is speaking there? Also, Con said speaking. Welcome, Con, joining us from South Africa. Is speaking, hablar, is that there? Talking. Yes, it is. Well done, well done. All right, guys, you're on fire. Let's see. Yeah, stranger danger, says Con. Not talking to strangers. That's a good one. Writing. Writing is good. That's from Vero. There's something you need to learn before writing. And that thing is there. That thing is there. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm gonna make you be quite precise today, I think. All right, let me take a look at our friends on Instagram. See what they're saying. Responsibility, says Fenokitty. Also good manners, which was there. Resilience as well is a good answer. Pedro says, oh no, I'm going to do that one later. 2 people have said one of the answers that's here. Being responsible is a good one. Juan Areo says to clean up, to tidy up. How to clean their room and basic hygiene. That's Emily. Anna Kassan, not to argue with them. Jeez. Good luck with that. Ivan GP says to say thank you or please when they ask for something. Which I think is just good manners, isn't it? Manners was there. Well done. Okay, Pedro and Carlos both say to use the toilet. We call that potty training in the UK. Or toilet training. Do you have a name for that in Spanish?
No, we don't.
You don't. Potty training, we call it. The little plastic seat that kids do their business on is a potty. And we call it potty training. Or toilet training. Ir al baño solos. Is it there? Yes, it is. Well done. Okay, there's one here that I'm not sure anyone's going to get. Oof. All right, let's see. Let's go back to our friends in the audience. Mike and Vero both say, well, Mike says the alphabet and Vero says letters. The alphabet or letters. Is it there? Yes, it is. Well done. El alfabeto. There's just one more thing to get. Okay, this is a weird one. You would want this of a child just like you would a dog. I know it's not pooping on the carpet. But you'd want to know that they recognize something that is personal to them, right? Oof. Parents will agonize over this before the child is born. Usually you're going to want to know the gender of the kid before you decide on this. You would want them to recognize this. Helps you as a parent get their attention. Oh, come on. These are brilliant clues, friends. Potty is orinal. Orinal, is that right, Dan? Vero?
Orinal.
Thank you, Vero. All right. Mike in the audience says to learn their name. su nombre, something many parents want their children to learn at a very young age. Their name. Is their name there? Yes, it is, Mike. Well done. And friends, you have completed today's 100 humans. Knocked it out of the park, my friends. Look at you. You're on fire. Let's go through the list. So I asked 100 humans to name something parents want their kids to learn at a young age. Nombra algo que los padres quieren que sus hijos aprendan de pequeños. In position number 7. With 3 of 100 humans, we had toilet training, potty, orinal. Ir al baño solos was there with 3 of 100 humans. In position number 6. Tied with the last answer, we had their name, su nombre. Yeah, hey. Are you named after anyone, Dan?
No.
I was, my aunt and uncle fought over my name. And I think my uncle won, hence why I'm called Rob. Anyway, in position number 5. The first step to learning how to read is learning the alphabet, or writing or reading is learning the alphabet. El alfabeto, 4 of 100 humans. In position number 4. We had to walk. 9 of 100 humans said walk, caminar. In position number 3. We had to talk, hablar. Hablar, talk or speak. 10 of 100 humans said that. In position number 2. We had manners, modales. 22 of 100 humans said manners. To learn manners, please. Thank you. And finally, in position number 1, with 45 of 100 humans, was to read. Well done, friends. Look at you, you're on fire. First time this week, completing the 100 humans. We do have a show coming up tomorrow, so don't miss that, friends. And then I go on a little vacation. I'm away until Tuesday. So don't miss tomorrow's show. It will be the last one for the week until I'm back next week on Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me and Dan. It's been a blast. Friends, I'll see you next time.